welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go and subscribe. If you're not new here, hi my lovies. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for the support and the love you have. So of course, as the title says, I'm gonna be talking about the Afcon, giving my predictions. I should have done one in the group stage, but I'm like, you know what? I have free will, so I'm doing it now for the round of 16. I'm here. I think this is great. If you haven't, and if it's your first time, or if it's not your first time and you're unaware, the Afcon means the absolute most to me, and so therefore I'd appreciate you to go back to my previous Afcon videos and show those videos love and support. If you're also unaware, I'm half Senegalese. Yeah, I know. Wait, first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Why am I in a Jamaican t-shirt? Again, I have free will. And one famous person once said Jamaica is located in Africa. So, and if Jamaica was in Africa, we would win Afcon. You know, I have that Senegal roots. I'm a Senegal babe. I'm a fine babe. I have heart in the Afcon. Before we go ahead and talk about my predictions, I have to shed light on a few African countries that are experiencing civil war, and so goes out to the people of Sudan and Congo. Those two countries have had extremely difficult times over the last 5 years, and it's still ongoing, and we just pray that they will be free. So free Sudan, free Congo video. So naturally, I'm predicting Senegal to win. Naturally, I'm predicting Senegal to win. They're my favorites coming into the competition. No shame in my game. And so this year's Africa Cup of Nations is being held in Morocco, which I'm not in Morocco. So Morocco is a host country, and it's their second time hosting an Afcon. The first time they hosted was in 1988. Must I say, it is a beautiful country. It is such a wonderful country. I mean, I've only watched vlogs of women on YouTube traveling to Morocco, and just the atmosphere and the people and the food and the culture. I hope that is me one day in Morocco. But they're such a great host country. The stadiums are absolutely beautiful. Like, what the reception in Morocco has been incredible. The vibes have been amazing. There was a change in the date of when players could be released from their clubs to go to Afcon, and I'm just, you guys would never do that for the Euros, for the World Cup. The date you'd have to get into their national teams in advance. They were like, oh, they can come in 2 to 3 days before. Unfair. You guys do not take this competition seriously, and it's clear. But I digress. I did not come and do a recap of last year's, of the 2023. Yes, the 2023 Afcon, and so therefore I have to just put this in this video. Okay, so the last staging of the Afcon, 119 goals were scored, and I do think this year is gonna top that. Ivory Coast were the winners of that staging of the Afcon. They would have won in the final against Nigeria, and that was such a redemption story for them because they finished third in their group. They were the host country. They had so much pressure on them after Sebastian Haller announced his health condition. It was just such a very emotional and deep Afcon, and it was fun. I was very impressed by Cape Verde and Angola. Those two teams put up just incredible performances and gave us a show in that Afcon. One of the big moments of that Afcon was the Ghana group stage exit. I mean, it's customary that Ghana exits at the group stage with the World Cup or the Afcon, and at this point questions have to be asked. The teams that we will not be seeing in this staging of the Afcon, and I mentioned 4 times Afcon champions, Ghana will not be in Afcon, and this is the first time since 2004. That is incredibly poor, and just downright, there has to be some accountability taken on the coach's part and on the federation's part, because this is not a team without talent, players who can't keep them there. It's just that whoever is in charge does not care enough to do the right things, and so Ghana misses out based on that. Cape Verde, who I mentioned, would have done well at the last Afcon. No Afcon for them this year, and I give them a blight over Ghana because they're not as a big nation and as a big footballing country as Ghana, and also they had the FIFA World Cup qualifiers to worry about as well, and making it their first ever World Cup qualification, and they will be in the 2026 no Afcon for them, but no Afcon. Kudos to them for putting on a very good fight in the World Cup qualifiers. Teams that have been eliminated, as I mentioned, I'm doing this when the group stages have ended, and it's the round of 16. So Comoros, this would have been their second Afcon. I really wanted them to do better, but given too much Zambia is also knocked out of the competition. And I think one of the biggest shockers for me here is Angola. They topped a very hard group last Afcon, and the narrative continues, guys. Afcon is incredibly hard. It's not one of the most predictable competitions, and to see that Angola was eliminated in the group stage proves just that. I think their lack of experience, because I think the coach went for more younger and fresher faces, and that would have been a problem for them coming in against some of the teams that they would have faced. They didn't win any games. It was mostly unconvincing draws, and that just can't cut it in a group of that stature. Zimbabwe, Uganda, Botswana, all smaller nations compared to the bigger ones, so it wasn't eliminated. Equatorial Guinea, however, lost all 3 matches. They just came to the Afcon to just enjoy the time in Morocco. I would have done the same, but that was a bit. And Gabon. And why am I seeing reports that the Gabon, I think the sports minister or the president was like, they have disqualified the team and they're discontinuing because of their poor performances in Afcon. It's never a dull day with these African teams. So let's get into the round of 16. Who are the teams that we have left? So first up, we have Senegal versus Sudan. As I mentioned, I have Senegalese, but Senegal is one of the most consistent on paper. They are the best team to beat. They are the team to beat if you want to win this competition. They are now being guided by Papatea. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right, guys, don't come for me, but it's his first official year being in charge of Senegal, and after Ali Cisse left, which one of the most decorated Senegal coaches ever, he has a very big task ahead of him to outdo that and win the Afcon. It's not about performing well and doing well, because he has the players at his realm. So I think going up against Sudan, they have more than enough talent to go to the next round. I'm not doubting that they do, and this is not me saying that Sudan is not to be respected, because this team would have come into an Afcon not playing any home games. They won one of the games out of their groups. Most of the players are very experienced players who play in the Saudi Pro League, and they're a good team. They're a decent team, but not a powerhouse team that I would say would win a Senegal. And it's really a proud moment for them, because they would have missed the Afcon during 2013 to 2019. They were not at the last staging, so it's their first major Afcon in years, and so sorry that they would not be able to go on to the next. It could go either way, but I'm going with a Senegal win. Next up, we have Mali versus Tunisia. Now Mali has been one to watch in this Afcon. They've always left it late. They have nearly missed defeat and just clinched a little draw here and there, and it's clear as day that they are playing it safe and playing for the draws, and I want to tell them it's time to cut that out. You're in the big leagues, play like you belong here. They're a very good team. I like this Mali team. I like to watch them as well, so I have no problem with them. They have this thing on their shoulder of outperforming their last Afcon. They made it to the quarterfinals. As I said, play like you've been here before. Play like it's a team who wants to go beyond and compete. And so they have that on their shoulders to compete and to progress as the competition goes on. Tunisia as well is I think it's a fair matchup between these two teams. They've both been decent at Tunisia, a very good attacking team. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. I would give the win to Mali. Next up is Morocco versus Tanzania. As I said, Morocco is the host country. We can say they're the best team in the world this year, national team. They're the best African team as well. They've had an incredible run this year. I'm just so excited to see, because the home pressure is real for them. They would be one of 14 teams who would have won on home soil, and so every game for them is a final, because the people show up and show out and the support is immense, so they have that riding on them for this game. So I'm vibing with Morocco. They are absolutely firing away. Brian Diaz, Ayub El Kaib. Again, if I'm mispronouncing these names, don't hang me. Those two are the leading goal scorers in the competition. When one score, the other is gonna eventually score. I'm just so happy that they found their foot in this competition and they're just doing the thing. Hakimi has also returned to the squad after being out on an injury. And he's the African player of the year, so he has a lot resting on him to prove to the Moroccan fans and the African fans that he is the best. I'm not saying that it's gonna be a walkover, but it's gonna be interesting. Tanzania, they've not given their best impression at this Afcon. It's been lukewarm for them and they've barely qualified coming into this game, but I'm going with Morocco. Next up, we have South Africa versus Cameroon. Cameroon is a whole video for themselves, but let's talk about South Africa first. Now, they were both in difficult groups. I think you could not expect more from them as individual countries, because the groups were extremely hard to top, and so South Africa had to pull off an insane comeback. They had to pull that last one out. They lost against the Egypt team. No seriousness there, proving that they belong here. They had a dramatic win against Zimbabwe, so they have been an electrifying team. They're up in the stakes. They are not ever boring to watch. It's always a good team. Let's go to the problematic team, that is Cameroon. Cameroon coming into the Afcon. Scandals you can think of. Samuel Eto'o, who is he is the president of their confederation, against the minister of sports, and it was just a tit for tat. Two different teams, two different set call-ups, two different managers boiled over into their Afcon performances, because some of these performances were just okay. I think one of their best games is versus Mozambique, and they've just had an okay Afcon so far. They've not done anything that wowed me or said, great, Cameroon can compete. However, I'm not marking them off. This could be either way. This could go either way for either teams, but I'm siding with a South Africa win. Next up, Egypt versus Benin. Now, Egypt is unbeaten in Afcon. They have had a perfect record coming in. We're talking about the Mohamed Salah revenge tour after the statements that Jamie Carragher made. This is a man who said nobody cares about Afcon. It's not a competition that players care about. To know Mo Salah did not win the Afcon, so he's not a good player. So after Jamie Carragher's statement, Mo Salah is walking on one of the heaviest chips on his shoulders to prove all the doubters and the haters wrong. After the whole Liverpool statement he made against Arne Slot, again, he's walking with a major chip on his shoulder. Perform and show up in the big games, and he's been doing that. Whether you like the way how it is done or not, it's being done, and you can't ask for more from him. And when you have me rooting for Mohamed Salah, you know it is some of the moments it may not have been the most convincing, but the point is you get it over the line, and Egypt has gotten it over the line. They're a very consistent team. They run a very strict and tight defensive output. Some of the defensive performances so far may not have been their best, but they're one of those teams. And something interesting for Egypt is they've been runners up twice in the last 10 years. So they're looking, I think, now to win the whole thing and to cap it off with proving as being the giants of the Afcon, being that they have won. Now, I want to touch on Benin. Now, they are a worthy opponent. They're here for a reason. They qualified from a third place spot out of their group. The only win that they had was against Botswana. Again, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying they're not at the same level as an Egypt, and Egypt has the experience and the quality to get this win. And I'm so going for an Egypt win. Nigeria versus Mozambique. If you know me, and if it's your first time around these parts, get to know that I'm Nigeria's biggest hater. But the Super Eagles come into the Afcon with one of the most disappointing things: another missed World Cup qualifications. They're not going to the 2026 World Cup. And so all eyes have to be set on that golden to also make way for the fact that they lost the last Afcon. They were doing extremely well. They were not so convincing, but they got to the final for a reason, and to lose it like that was just disappointing. So I'm saying they've come in. Eric Shell is just a character, but he is doing what needs to be done. They have the depth to go all the way. They have incredible talent and players who can compete, and these are some of the best players in the world. They have a perfect record. They won all their group games. They've conceded none. They've just been a very, very, very sharp team, and I don't see anybody stopping them. Mozambique, they are not the team that's gonna beat Nigeria. I'm sorry, but I'm so happy that they're here. I'm glad that they would have made it. They've had some high intense matches. They have shown that they can compete against the bigger countries, and so they should be proud of themselves being here. Algeria versus DR Congo, and I think this is gonna be a matchup. Like, this is gonna be one of the big games to watch. Like, turn on your TV and stay there, because this match, let's talk about Algeria. They've also had a perfect record. They've revitalized the team. They have also give Algerian football fans something to celebrate, because before this Afcon, they would have gone back-to-back group stage exits. And I think a big major part of that is this is a very aging team. This is a very aging national team that are grinding down on tired legs and tired minds. And so it shows. But one thing for sure, Riyad Mahrez, you have to give it to him. He still has the mojo, and I'm so excited to see how he captains his side going forward. They're unbeaten coming into Afcon, and they have been one of the teams to beat as well. So I really this time. DR Congo has been one of the most consistent teams this year. Every win has been hard fought, and every performance is just due to incredible coaching, and so they have to be given the praise. They held their own against a very strong Senegal team, so it shows that they can compete, and they are willing to compete. They play really good football. It's really nice to watch them. They're not boring. They have so much fresh talent and idea. You know, when you see Wan-Bissaka, Memba, they have some of the most different leagues, and so they have a very good core. I think for them this is a test, because they would have placed fourth at the last Afcon, losing the third place. Not anything to doubt them about. They would have done that. That would have been a good finish. But no, I think their eyes can be set. I would put them in one of the favorites. At least we have Ivory Coast versus Burkina Faso. Ivory Coast is gonna take this win for me. They're the defending champions. They have had a way better start in this Afcon versus the last Afcon. One who I just don't see it for him. Diallo is doing absolutely amazing away from the shackles of hellhole that is Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, and it proves that he is a very good talent. They also have a very good midfield. Their midfield is one of the most compact in Afcon. They play a very position-based game. Very fun team to watch. I would give them the win against Burkina Faso. No, I'm not saying Burkina Faso is not a good team, because in my opinion their group was, I wouldn't say hard, it was okay. It was an okay second best team, that second best group, which they did finish second. but I don't think they've had a real test so far. So I think Ivory Coast is a challenge for them, and if they can prove themselves, it would be fun. The games to start, I've been enjoying Afcon. It's been so fun. There's been no major upset so far at Afcon, and I think the knockout round is where they leave all the surprises for all the craziness. I'm gonna be here after the round of 16 up until the final. So like, share, subscribe, and thank you guys again for being here.